All right, here we are, back with another episode of Neon Radio. I'm your host, Nick Onken here, and I wanted to answer a question today. And the question comes from the forum online. So if you go to the Neon Life quiz, that's neonlife.com/quiz, life.com/quiz, you'll find a quick 10-question survey there, which will serve you up some free content to help you out with your creative journey. But one of the spaces on there is a place to ask a free question. So this week I want to answer one of those freestyle questions, and this question is from Sarah Hawaii West, and she asked the question, what are some ways to improve brain power, increase focus, and overcome apathy to stay motivated and focused? And if you're any sort of creative, you've probably gone through this. I go through this every day from the time I started my career 15, 20 years ago to now, and it always happens. It's always going, but you got to keep doing these things to maintain. And I think, we're our own biggest obstacles, and I've gone through so many down times. My business has gone really far down the drain and then picked back up, and then you go up and you go down, and that's part of business. That's part of the journey, and that's something that I had to learn. I had a few different waves of my own business where I thought that things were just like going, and then they crash, and then they go and they crash, come up and down and up and down. And when you're first starting, this is something that is also difficult. And now, keep in mind, in this Instagram world, in this digital world, where there's a lot more people doing a lot of things, and a lot, people want to be at the top yesterday, and you got to recognize that it takes hard work. It takes 10,000 hours, as a lot of us have, as I've talked about, as Malcolm Gladwell has talked about. So many different people talk about this 10,000 hour rule, and I think it's fairly true. It took me roughly 10,000 hours of working, which is about 5 years, just to even get to a space where I was making money. I was making decent money. My craft was getting to a place where it was commercially viable. And you have to be able to focus and get through these things, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of mental practice. It's almost like a meditation of coming back to the focus. That takes brain power, that takes mental energy. And I know when I was first starting photography, however many years ago that was, I wanted everything now. I wanted to be at the top. I wanted to be a commercial photographer shooting all these big brands, and I had to practice patience. I had to learn patience. And that was probably one of the biggest lessons, because you have to keep going, you have to keep being patient as you're building your portfolio, whether it's design, any art, any art discipline that you're in, you have to take the time to build your portfolio. You have to take the time to build and to create, and you have to create every day. You have to create all the time, and you have to discipline yourself to create all the time. And that takes a mental focus, and exactly the mental focus that Sarah here is asking about. And so I've got 5 things for you guys to think about to help with your mental focus. Things that I've learned throughout the last few years. Well, lots of years, because I've been doing this for a long time, and every year is different. I'm 15, 20 years into my career, and I still go through these things every day. I go through the downs, I find the resistance, I find all these different things to keep me from creating and moving forward and building and staying motivated and staying focused. For me, it's a livelihood. It's something that I want. It's something that I've always wanted to do. It's something that I do want to do. I couldn't imagine working anything else than what I'm doing. And, it's a beautiful life, and it can be a beautiful life. This creative lifestyle, this neon life is a beautiful lifestyle if you create it to be that, and you create it to be the life that you want, because you have that capability. You have the power to choose what it is that you want to create in your life, and you have to put your own puzzle pieces back together and create the life that you want. And that's different for everyone. You know, different people want different creative endeavors, different people want different lifestyle balance, relationships, family, and different ways of going about it. We all have different upbringings, different areas of life, but I think the main thing is really to keep creativity at the top, to create creativity as your driving force and what your fulfillment, because when we're creating, we're in the moment, we're in the flow. Flow is when we're in the present moment, and the more that we can access that, the more happy and we'll find it. I'm sure that you found when you're creating and you lose track of time, and you're making something, you're working on a project, you lose track of time. That's you being in the present moment. That's you being in flow. And I think that's really what it comes down to, and then building all the elements around that to sustain a lifestyle that facilitates that. And that is what I'm talking about when I say create your life by creating every small moment. You have to choose in every moment to be creating and to be moving forward and to create the moment that you want. It's an active choice. You can actively choose to be a victim to your circumstance, or you can actively choose to interpret whatever that circumstance was into something good. You can choose to interpret bad things as learning lessons to make you a better person. So all that to say, this goes back to staying motivated. You have to know, you have to really want this. Which goes into my first one, and I've done podcasts on this before. You can go back and search through the archives. I encourage you to do that. I was just looking through the archives. You can search different keywords on the website at neonradio.com. There's a little search bar, so if you search, you can find old past podcasts on different topics. So here we go. The first tip I would say is to know your why, because your why is gonna drive you. It's your North Star. It's why you're doing these things. For me, my why is creativity, and creativity is inspiring the world, you know, to live a higher lifestyle, to live in somebody's highest self. I want to inspire people to make their own creative things and to live a creative lifestyle and be fulfilled. That's a full rounded thing, you know. So know your why. Know why you want to create. Know why you're doing this, because that why is going to drive you through the hard times. Simon Sinek, good book to read. Simon Sinek, one of his first books is Start With Why. And he talks about how companies that know their why and that drives them, it makes them succeed, because they go through and it drives everything that they put out there. Their products, their marketing, everything is driven through their why. And if you want to stay motivated, knowing your why is a huge key factor in this crazy career of creativity, because it is up and it is down, and I've experienced both. I've experienced amazing success throughout, you know, shooting commercial campaigns for big brands like Nike, Reebok, Coca-Cola. I was making tons of money, and the print and the industry took a change and got disrupted with Instagram, and my business went down, and now it's going back up. And there, you have to know your why and why you love it to keep going through these times. And I speak from experience. It's not always easy. I've had to sacrifice different things along the way, but you know, my why has driven me through all of that. So number 2, read the book, The War of Art. I've talked about this before, and this is probably one of the biggest books that I have, most iconic books in the creative world and the creative journey that I've ever read. It's by Steven Pressfield. He talks about the resistance, and the resistance is all those things that keep you from actually creating, that keep you from doing your craft. It's sitting down and watching TV when you know you should be making something. It's going out with your friends, you know, while you feel like you should be creating something. And don't get me wrong, going out with your friends is good. Socializing in community is a big part of thriving in life. But I think you also got to take a look at, as if anything in life, the balance of what you're doing and the why of why you're doing it. If you're consuming more than you're creating, then that's something to take a look at. And this is awareness. This is all awareness. You have to sit down and take a look at your life from an awareness perspective. And when you see yourself consuming or going out with your friends or doing all these things, and it's taking you away from creating, that's where you want to take a look at it. But learning and understanding this is like the first big thing. So read The War of Art. He talks all about this. He's also got another book called Turning Pro, and read The War of Art first, then Turning Pro, because he talks about the differences between what pros do and what amateurs and beginners do, and gives you a really good distinction. And most amateurs fall into the resistance. That's his biggest point in both books, is leaning into the resistance. And it goes back to that where I was talking about, you have to actively choose to create. You have to actively choose in every moment to do the thing that you love. And I think that's a highly important thing. So, number 3, and this is the biggest one that I've learned over the last probably 2 or 3 years, it is practice self-care. And I realize like how important this is on a daily piece, because your mental game is the biggest game you'll ever play in this creative world, and making it as an artist and doing what it takes to become successful. I've interviewed so many amazing people. You can go back and listen to the archives, from Usher to Daniel Arsham, Donna Karan, Scooter Braun, Chantel Martin, all these amazing artists and all these amazing successful people. And the biggest thing that they have in common is their mental game. So taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental game, and that takes a lot of different modalities. You got to find which modalities work for you. For me, one of the biggest modalities is meditation. Meditation helps me clear the mind trash, because the mind trash, the monkey chatter, all the fears, all that stuff, all the shit that I'm not good enough, the questioning, the self-doubt, I go through that stuff all the time, every day. And for me, meditation has been one of those huge tools to get rid of that. And that's the stress that comes from the monkey chatter. So meditation is a huge one. Exercise, keep moving. I've been doing a lot of yoga. My shoulder's been kind of messed up a little bit lately, so I haven't really been able to like lift or do anything, but I bike a lot in New York City. It's one of my favorite things to do. Yoga, and I do strength training right here in my house. The important thing is to keep moving every day. It's a practice. You've got to take care of your body. I feel so much better when my body feels good. Sleep. I love sleep, and I sleep like 8 hours a night, and I'm very much more disciplined within that, because I know that I mentally feel much better the next day, and I'm more productive and I'm more creative when I get enough sleep. Shout out to Uller, actually Chili Pad helps me get really deep sleep. I run hot, and the Chili Pad has been such a game changer for me, because it keeps my core body temperature cooled down, so I sleep a lot deeper at night. And it's one of the biggest. I bought one a couple years ago, and it's the best thing I've ever had. So for my sleep. So craft your scenario, craft your circumstances. Also supplements. I take a lot of supplements and protein shake in the morning. That's like kind of my ritual. I just discovered Super Feast by my friend Danielle Shine, Chef Shine over on Instagram. Super Feast makes this neutral nectar, which is a brain nootropic, and I've been taking it in the mornings, and actually like helps me focus, helps me get a little bit of like creative zhuzh going on. Took some this morning, really love it. I have a lot, I use my protein shakes are with Onnit and Four Sigmatic products. So that's highly important to me. Also, I have Dr. Gundry vital reds and vital greens. It's also very energizing and replenishing. So I usually do that on the daily. It's my morning ritual. I love my protein shake after I work out, after I meditate. And those things I do, my morning practice, self-care practice in the morning is about an hour. And I try to do as much as I can before touching my phone, before getting those, dopamine hits, if you want to say, from checking the phone, and, put the phone down. Get after it in the morning, take care of yourself, and get your mindset right. Number 4 goes along with this. Stay healthy, exercise, sleep. I guess I just kind of combined those two, but they're both very important. Taking care of yourself, socializing, community. One of the healthy things is to create friendships and connections, and this goes into business. Go out and meet other creatives. Talk to people in other creative industries. I know for me, I get more excited talking to people with other interests and other creative disciplines and doing other art projects, because that fuels my own art projects. And I now do a lot of different things, from making hats, as you can see here in the background, making the art in the background. My primary mode of medium is photography, and that's where my income comes from, but all these other things are creative endeavors. So pull in from other things. So community, go meet other creatives, get inspired. I get inspired through talking to people, and that inspiration keeps me healthy. It keeps me coming back. Again, exercise, and do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to keep yourself healthy and motivated, because that'll help you keep your focus. Number 5 is be innovative. Your livelihood depends on what it is that you're, how you're innovating and staying innovative in business. For me, I've had to innovate over the last few years as certain things have not been working that used to be working, and I've created a whole nother business vertical on doing personal branding for entrepreneurs, and that's just come from shooting my friend Lewis Howes, and then I created a whole business around that. It's a different business model. It's different, and I have to go out and I have to learn. I have to be innovative. I have to learn how to create the business models. And what do? I go and talk to the people that are doing it, and I talk to people that are in marketing. I talk to people that are in building relationships. So go out and seek, go out and learn. I mean, the internet is wealth, a treasure trove of information that you can find, and it's easier more than ever. So go out, learn these things, innovate for your business, innovate in your art. I would say also, create for the sake of creating. I think one of my newest endeavors is making these hats, and I've just been making hats for myself for the last few years because I love it, and I still do. And people started wanting them. That's another thing. The demand has started coming in, so I'm building a business around that, business structure around that. But it's all centered around my own creativity, my own innovation, and just I'm making them for fun. I make them for myself, and now it's turning into a business. So guys, be innovative, try things, hit that creative spark. I think trying new things is really helping you to create that creative spark. So hope those help. If you want to go, you can search through the archives over at neonradio.com. If you want to ask a question, go over to neonlife.com/quiz. Take the 10-question survey. I'll try to answer them here and there through different podcasts, maybe some Instagram, IGTV, whatever it is. You can also follow us over at Neon Life, at Neon Life on Instagram. My Instagram is at Nick Onken, and we talk about all kinds of fun stuff over there. So with that, you know what time it is. Oh yeah, and if you enjoyed today's podcast, I would love it if you could go over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a good review and a good rating, and help us get the word out to other people. And you can share this episode over at neonlife.com/EP174. We'll also link up all the stuff that I just talked about here on those show notes, all the different supplements, all the different things that are here. So with that, you know what time it is. It's time to go out and create your life by creating every small moment, and we'll see you next time.
You're the one I trust.